Every video with you in it just starts that way. Hello, you dirty potters. How are you today? As you guys most likely remember, this is Lindsay. I feel like this is a good time to open up the discussion of what is working for exposure versus working for actual money. I had posted a meme on my Facebook fan page. It was basically Rick and Morty, and it was that whole conversation where Rick was like, well, they work for each other, and then Morty was like, this is just slavery with extra steps. You're taking the majority of the progress they're making. And so I put the same exact things on there, but instead it was the stereotypical thing of somebody coming up to your table, and I feel like a lot of artists will know this, especially if you have a lot of tables, of, hey, will you come do a demo or work for me? And then they say, but instead of paying you, you'll get great exposure out of it. And then Morty at the bottom is like, that's just stealing with extra steps. You're getting my work for free. And a couple people on my Facebook fan page had made some good points, and those points being sometimes it is a good thing to work for exposure. I kind of lean towards the side of I think you should get paid and get exposure at the same time, even if it's a nominal amount. But we have Lindsay M. Dillon here to give her opinion on it as well. She's had plenty of tables as well as I have, and she's also definitely a fantastic artist. I think you guys have seen plenty of videos with her in them.
George is gonna die.
We're recording! Yay! Dante, you have too many videos with Lindsay in them. Look, you want videos or not? Every video with you in it has a weird intro thing.
I'm alright with that.
Yeah. This is something that, and I know I'm a little bit more blunt and I'm a little bit more hard when it comes to my school of thought, but it's always been, you know, for me it's like, if you're good at it, don't do it for free. And I know that's an old saying, but it's very much, if I'm working for exposure, you should pay me as well as working for exposure. It's something, especially in the rap community, and they're like, if I'm at a bar or I'm at a club and I'm getting bottles, number one, I'm getting those bottles for free. And secondly, you're paying me to be here because I'm attracting more people to your business for you to make more money. I'm not working for exposure. You're allowing me to be here to make you more money. And that's the reverse exposure of it. And I just wanted to hear your opinions on working for exposure versus working for paid, or is there a middle ground to it?
I tend to fall along the middle ground of it. Like, I tend to look at most things as like in shades of gray.
Right.
So for me, I think the biggest thing when looking at doing something for exposure is just what is the potential payout of that.
Right.
Like, my mom was an entertainer for about 20 years, and she has her own perspective that has very much influenced mine. And she had experiences where, you know, as a family entertainer, she got invited to perform on the steps of the Capitol. Oh. And yeah, and it was
fancy.
It was gonna be for free. It was for, I think, a reading celebration. Right. And they weren't gonna pay for her to be there, but with her being on the steps of the Capitol, right, like that not only offers prestige, right, but it exposes her to other job opportunities. Right. And like that, I think for me is probably the most important thing, because I think there are a lot of opportunities where, or a lot of instances, well, someone will come up to you and, like you're saying, be like, hey, can you do this thing for me? It'll be great for exposure. But then, like, if you actually like look into who they are or what they might offer, like if it'd be like the difference between like a small startup company that has no financial history background that you can look on, you know, it's maybe run by one individual, versus like Microsoft coming up to you and being like, hey, can you do this thing for me?
Oh, for sure.
Like, so that's for me the biggest thing, is like, look, if you are in that situation, find out as much as you can about the person who's approaching you with that offer, and see if it is actually going to be worth it. Because I do think sometimes, even if you can't get paid for it, if the exposure is worth that, right, then do it. But that also, there's no harm also in asking. It's like, in asking like, oh, okay, is there a potential for a stipend, something like that.
And I think there's definitely an investment aspect to that. It's, if I'm working for you for purely exposure, and later on that's going to make me more money for sure, as you were saying, something like an Intel company versus a startup company, then yes, I'm definitely gonna do it. But the other part of my brain goes, if it is a company like Intel, you should be paying me as well as exposure, even if it's a nominal amount, even if it's a small amount. And my mom especially is very much one of those people who are like, right, you're doing it, but you're not doing it for free 99, are you? And I'm like, no. She goes, whatever you do, make sure you're getting your money while you do it. And there's two pieces of advice my mom had always given me that I really take to heart. It's, you're not supposed to be finding ways to make money. You're supposed to be finding ways to make money by doing the things that you were gonna do anyway. If you're already gonna make pottery and you're doing it in silence, and remember I did pottery before I started the YouTube channel. I did it for about 4 years of just by myself before I started to really get online on a weekly basis and have a base in a community. My mom was like, you can just do the same exact thing you're doing now. Just tape it and explain it along the way in order to help people. And I was like, I'm not really doing it for the money, but she's right. If I can make a difference in the world by doing the same thing I'm doing and just recording it, and that money helps me do it better, why not do it? And I think as far as exposure goes, if that's gonna help me at a later time, then yes. But I really, really am tired of the person who comes up to my table and they're like, oh, well, you can get exposure for doing it. And I think we all know that person. And you're like, okay, well, where's it gonna go? And I go, in my private collection. Okay, where's your private collection? It's in my house. Okay, you're just trying to steal with extra steps. You just want my art for free.
Yeah.
This is not, and then what they do is they try and talk you down, like, well, why would I pay for this? If I can totally get this at Walmart, and you're like, why did you come to an arts and crafts festival to barter down arts and crafts and then compare them to slipcast work? Why you do this?
Well, slipcast, mass-produced slipcast work. Because I mean,
yeah.
Again, in ceramics you can do slipcast, but it's still.
Yeah, there's a difference. If you made your own shapes and you slipcast your own shapes, those are your shapes. But for example, if you go to Walmart and get a bowl and slipcast that and then sell that, you literally are selling Walmart ware with different colors. And
that could actually be kind of an interesting exploration though, like playing devil's advocate. Like
you could
playing, like you could be commenting on like the dynamic as mass produced versus handmade and the associations we have with that.
Yeah, no, well, the society definitely has an association with, there's something called artisan ware, and I'm sure you guys have seen it in stores before. It's in like Cost Plus and Pottery Barn, and they always have artisan ware underneath it. When you look into it, what I found out is artisan ware doesn't mean that it was made by an artist. It has the word art in it, but that just means at some point during the process, someone has touched it with their human hands. So it might have been slip casted, it might have been molded, it might have been machine kilned, it might have been machine glazed. But the person who wiped off the glaze at the bottom is a real human being. And because someone touched it at one point or another, that makes it artisan ware.
Interesting.
Right, but to me, I'm like, that's just slip cast by machine with extra steps. With extra steps. I hate saying that from Rick and Morty, but it honestly makes so much sense whenever someone gives something a different name, but it's the same process. I'm like, that's just the same thing with extra steps. Something that I had heard recently on a podcast, I think it was a podcast called like Mind Pump. It's a workout podcast. They were talking about if you can take a process and complicate it, if you can take a process and make it seem more complex and then say it's better, even though it's not, there's money to be made in it.
That's interesting.
It's weird.
Yeah.
It's strange to me, but at the same time, I'm just very aware whenever I see a commercial that has like Downy and then you have like kids running through the house and then they're like, Downy protects my children. My brain doesn't go like, I need to buy Downy. My brain goes, oh, okay, you're trying to make an emotional connection in between my children and your product. So every time I look at your product, I'm emotionally apt to buy that product. You're basically trying to like slow brainwash me, emotional style.
And that is the importance of developing critical thinking skills.
That is the importance of developing critical thinking skills. Or whenever you see the green M&M and it's real sexy, and then the people who just get that kind of marketing, who are driven to sex crave marketing, go like, I need M&Ms now. Right now.
Right now. I feel like this kind of goes hand in hand with the idea of like communicating with folks who are looking to get something with slavery with extra steps, like you were saying.
Yes, it's basically like, you're working for free with extra steps.
Yeah. Like I feel like the process of educating people is a really interesting like dynamic, because like I know for me sometimes, like there have been times where, you know, I've had people come up to my table and I tell them how much something is priced and they get like, oh, like they get a very like taken aback look, And like the emotional animal brain side of me wants to be like, hate to make it,
Right.
you know, I get
You don't
super angry.
understand.
Exactly. But then I had a situation where a family member did the same thing, and I was kind of faced with that situation of like, okay, I have a very strong personal history with this family member.
Right.
You know, I know they love me, I know they support me, etc., etc. They just don't understand this aspect of why something is priced this way. So what happens now is like when I have someone who comes up and who gives me kind of that facial expression or they get taken aback, I kind of pretend it's that family member, because then that helps me come from a more understanding, more like not so angry place of trying to educate that person. And I feel like as we kind of interface with people who aren't as aware of what goes behind ceramic art, like coming at it from that place is more helpful, I think.
Well, you're much more gentle than I am. You're much more gentle than I am. So there's two sides. Lindsay, you're completely right. But let me explain the flip side, because I've had this conversation happen so many times at my tables. The reason, and this is kind of the response you should give to somebody who doesn't understand this side, but I'm usually much more salty than this, so I'm gonna turn the salt down right here. Whenever somebody questions why handmade ceramic artwork is expensive, what needs to be explained to them, most likely what they don't understand, is that you didn't get on the wheel and just decide to make this. It took about 4, maybe 3 or 4 years if you're good, to make this one shape proficiently, right? And then to learn how to take care of it and learn how to trim it. So what they're paying for isn't the item. It's kind of like when you buy a bottle of water. You're not really buying the water inside, you're buying the bottle. The water costs like 5 cents.
Yeah.
To produce the bottle is what's taking so much money.
And the marketing to get that bottle into the supermarket or the Starbucks or the wherever you are.
Right, so it's a displacement of cost. It's really, they think they're paying X amount of dollars for said item, but really they're paying X amount of dollars plus for the training it took to make that item. So when someone goes, why is this so expensive? I go, well, because it took 4 years to learn how to make that shape that you want to buy. And you're making sure that handmade ceramic artwork stays in the circle of things that are valuable in society. Because if you want to complain about that, then you could just go to Walmart. Yeah. You can totally just go to Walmart. But at the same time, there's always going to be that person who honestly doesn't understand. Yeah. And I'm slowly learning over time that coming aggressively, you guys already know. You guys already know I'm super aggro, but
so he's the tank, I'm the support?
I don't mean to tank. I don't mean, I feel like someone comes up to the table and they're like, why is this so expensive? And then I'm like, I'll tell you why it's so expensive, Kathy. And she's like, hold on, let me explain it.
Let me show you why.
He's gonna
I'll
eat
make
you.
it pretty for you.
Never in the history of a ceramic art table has someone come up to the table and been like, this shouldn't be so expensive. And the artist has gone, you know what, you're right, let me mark it down for you $5. That does not work. It doesn't work. But at the same time, explaining to them why is a whole nother story. And that's, the goal is to educate people and not to downplay them or the way they think, because by doing that, you're just the person that they thought you were in the first place. So I think the ultimate question is, would you ever work for exposure? And I think I like to go the extremes and then analyze the middle ground. Would you ever work for exposure knowing that it most likely won't bring you revenue in the future? And would you ever work for exposure knowing that it'll bring you prestige and revenue in the future, are the two questions.
Are you asking me right now?
Yes.
Okay, so the second question, yes. If I thought there was a chance that I could work for exposure, I wasn't getting paid, but I thought that it would bring me revenue in the future, like, heck yeah. Yeah, I would definitely do that. I think the only way that I would work for exposure if I didn't think that there was a good chance that it was gonna bring revenue in the future is if I was personally interested in the project.
Right.
Like if I had the opportunity to, I don't know, work for Guillermo del Toro, and like no one was ever gonna know that I had the opportunity to do this. Yeah. But like I got the chance to work with him and the people that he works with for their character designers. Yeah. Like I would do that in a heartbeat.
Or like your favorite voice, like if Dante Bosco was like, give me your pieces, I'd be like, yes, take my pieces. Take it, Prince Zuko. Oh, I'm taking them now. Sorry about your burn on your face.
I think that's the only situation. I don't know, what about you?
I think I follow along the same lines where, and it's very much because as I told you earlier as a conversation before this taping, I have a friend who's like, dude, if you're not cheating, then you're not trying, pretty much. And we had this conversation of you can very easily, you know, get somebody who's busty, female most likely, with a low cut tank top and have them center on a wheel and push down and put that as the thumbnail and get a lot of views. Or I could start every video with, "What's up guys, it's your boy," but I don't do that because I feel like it's disingenuous and that's just not my personality. And the whole thing with the centering with the low cut, I feel like that's just baiting because most likely you will not see that in my videos. But to that extent, I feel in the same lines of, I'm not gonna do it because it's cheap and easy, I'm gonna do it because I really want to. And to that extent, if I had something that was really gonna be a benefit for me in the future, monetary wise or money wise, and it was like if I was doing it for the Intel company, let's just run with that, and I didn't like the person asking me, or they came to me disrespectfully, I wouldn't do it no matter how much money they gave me, no. But at the same time, like if you asked me to go to a table with you and it was gonna make me no money, I'd probably do it for fun. And I'm just a lot more loyal to my own morality and my own standards than I am my monetary value. I'm just, you know, I don't...
Everyone has a price, Dante.
Everyone
has a price.
My price just usually happens to not be money.
Yeah.
If somebody was like, I will give you a G to make me a bong, I'd be like, no, shove it. But if you gave me $100 worth of Quickly, I might do it.
Oh my God.
I have a Quickly problem. Yes, I realize I could buy a lot more Quickly with the G worth of money. Yes, I realize I could probably make a bong in 5 minutes. I don't want to. I just don't want to. I just don't feel like it.
One of the things that I kind of enjoy, like, toying with mentally, and this is backtracking a little bit, but like, kind of going back to that idea of, you know, having a busty woman centering, leaning forward.
Yeah.
Like,
whenever I see the thumbnails of that, I'm just like, no,
yeah.
You're not getting me.
Yeah.
You're not gonna debate my lizard brain.
See, I feel like, okay, see, here's something that I kind of wrestle with, because like, okay, first of all, like, I don't have the option to do the busty pose because that's just not my body type.
I have the option.
Oh yes, oh definitely.
My titties.
No. But like, I know one thing that I do, like little things that I would do differently that I don't. Okay, I'll put this to you guys if you want to offer an opinion on this.
Okay,
but
opinions in the comments below.
In the comments, yes,
for sure.
Yeah. So I don't necessarily think of this as baiting, but I think of it as minor tweaks that might help present a better image necessarily, but like little things that I'll do, like if I know I'm gonna do like an Instagram story where it's mostly just gonna be like my face.
Right.
Little things like I'll put on a little bit of makeup. You know? No. It's like little things like that. Like I'll maybe make sure that my hair isn't crazy town. Like I'll put on this hat if my hair is crazy.
No, same dip.
You know,
sometimes
like,
I go on to things scruffy and then people are like, shave your face. And I'm like, oh yeah, I should probably shave. I don't think that's cheap.
Yeah, so I feel like there's always middle grounds of like,
of course.
Like you're not gonna see me in a low cut V-neck unless it's just like crazy hot.
Yeah.
Or I don't know. Anyway. But like,
imagine if I got real ripped and then I just did it with like my shirt off and I was just like, you know, like, I'd feel bad.
I would still totally watch that just because it'd be like, damn, Dante, like you bulked up. Like, just congratulations.
I gotta get down to 190 and then I can start my bulking phase.
Oh my God.
I'm 210 right now. I'm way too big for my own good right now.
Yeah, there are so many interesting like moral questions in kind of in whatever field, but I feel like with, I don't know, I mean with art there are so many different things to consider. With having a public face there are so many things to consider. Like I think that's maybe part of the reason why I have not really launched into that yet. Like this is the most like public facing I've done like pretty much ever. And it's interesting, like once you start doing it, it's like you have to kind of contend with those questions. It's like, all right, am I gonna wear the low cut V-neck? Am I gonna put on a full face of makeup? Like,
yeah, you have to think about what gets the effectiveness versus like how cheap are you willing to get? And there's a certain line for me. For example, I make it a very good point to never put something in the thumbnail, never put something in the title, and also never put something at the beginning of my videos, because you guys know I always do a little screen cap beforehand, then I play the intro, and then I get into the video. I never do those three things if they're not gonna be in the video. So I'm never gonna put like Fortnite in my channel because Fortnite is popping right now. I'm never gonna do that just to get the views. But at the same time, the people who do that will get more notoriety than I will because of that. You know what I mean? And the people who are into Fortnite are gonna watch that for sure. Because they go, oh, I like Fortnite, I'm gonna watch that. Even though we're an art channel. And there's a certain line, and I don't think the makeup thing is, you know what,
minor.
Like, it's not only is it minor, that's a personal choice about the way you look, and that ain't nobody's business. But once I start tricking people's lizard brains, like once I start appealing to people's sense of primal needs in order to get them to click on my video, then I feel bad. It's like trapping a mouse with cheese and then being like, well, mice eat cheese. You gotta trap them with cheese.
See, I wonder, now again, I know I'm like playing a little bit of devil's advocate here, but like...
That's why you're here. That's
Yeah,
why you're here.
okay,
If I wanted
so-
somebody who would agree with me on the channel, I would just have a second me.
That would be a very interesting video to watch.
It would be aggressive as F. It would be aggressive. It'd be like, why are you complaining about artwork? Go to Walmart. So thank you guys for joining us today. I really just wanted to pose that question to you guys. Please leave your opinions in the comments below. I would love to hear what you guys think about it, but this question's been circulating on my page for quite some time, and most people agree, like, don't do it if you're not getting money. But I do definitely agree there's a certain type of exposure you can work for that'll bring you more money in the future. So they're kind of secular if you do them right. But I think Lindsay and I both agree, if there's no chance of like anything coming, if there's no dividends coming to you in the future from this one job, you're essentially working for free. You know what I mean? That's stealing with extra steps. I'm working for nothing, and that's just not my thing. So
you talked about not appealing to people's lizard's brains to get views and things like that.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, could the desire for art and beautiful things be considered a primal need?
Of course, oh yeah, of course. When I make a gourd, I am massively more attracted to double hump Japanese gourds than I am almost any other shape. And I'm gonna put a picture up here for you to see it. You can most likely figure out why. It's a very much a Kim Kardashian Coke bottle shape. It's very much voluptuous. It's something that my male primal lizard brain likes to look at in general. I'm just attracted to curves and Fibonacci spirals and all that kind of junk. But that's just how I am. I just don't want to do it so blatantly. And there's definitely a little bit in there. There's a little bit of like, I make curvy things because I like curvy things. But there's also the like, I'm not gonna show you curvy things just because I know you want curvy things.
Yeah.
So thank you guys very much for joining me today. If you want to see any of my artwork, the links are down below, and I will also post Lindsay's Instagram page down below as well. And I will see you Dirty Potters next week.
Interesting, like oh geez.
Oh, them,
Sorry, there's some squirrels
them
fighting
squirrels are
behind us.
getting it behind us.
Speaking of marketing via sex, although I don't know if that's sex or fighting. I can't tell with squirrels.
It's very hard to tell the difference between sex and fighting
Oh God.
in most animal kingdoms.